Shadows Without a Name. Chapter 1. The Message. In this city, people do not disappear all at once. It would be easier if they did. Easier to notice, easier to name, easier to remember. But that is not how it happens here. Here, disappearance is a process, slow, precise, almost careful. First, a person fades from attention, then from conversation. Their name appears less often, then not at all. Messages go unanswered, calls are missed, plans are postponed and never rescheduled, and eventually there is nothing left to connect them to the present moment. By the time anyone realizes something is wrong, it already is. The city never reacts to absence. It reacts to presence, to sound, to motion, to interruption. As long as something continues, the city believes everything is intact. Traffic flows, lights remain on behind curtains, voices fill stairwells, cafes, late-night buses. Life continues, and continuation is mistaken for stability. But something always shifts. Not in the streets, not in the skyline, not in anything you could photograph. It shifts in the pattern, and once a pattern changes, everything that follows carries the distortion forward. Detective Andrey Volkov had built his life around that idea. Patterns did not lie, people did, memories did. Even evidence could be misleading if you looked at it incorrectly. But patterns revealed intention. He stood by the window of his office, watching rain gather and slide down the glass in thin, uneven paths. Each drop obeyed the same laws: gravity, surface tension, friction, and yet no two paths were identical. Variation within structure, predictable unpredictability. He had always found that comforting, the idea that even chaos had rules. Behind him, the station was alive with its usual rhythm. Phones rang in overlapping intervals. Footsteps moved quickly across tiled floors. Voices rose and fell, carrying fragments of unrelated conversations. Someone laughed, someone argued, someone repeated a question that had already been answered twice. Noise, unfiltered, unfocused. To most people, it was just part of the environment. To Andrey, it was interference. Volkov! The voice cut through the noise with just enough clarity to be intentional. Andrey did not turn immediately. He rarely did. He preferred to finish observing one system before engaging with another. Below, on the street, a man stepped off the curb without checking for traffic. A car approached faster than it should have. There was a delay. Then the brakes engaged. The vehicle stopped inches from impact. Error, recognition, correction. The system adjusted. Only then did Andrey turn. Give me a reason to care. His voice was calm, even, not dismissive, selective. The man approaching him was in his mid-30s, slightly out of breath, holding a file with both hands, too tightly. That was the first detail. People only grip objects like that when they feel uncertain. Missing person, he said. Andrey waited. 3rd this month. That was enough. Name? Katya Ivanova. Andrey took the file without sitting. He opened it immediately. His eyes moved quickly, but nothing was missed. He read not only what was written, but what was omitted. Time. Last seen at 22:46. A pause. Gone by 22:47. Andrey's eyes stopped. 1 minute. That was not a gap. That was a cut. 1 minute, he repeated. Less. The answer came too fast. Rehearsed. Andrey filed that away. Witnesses? None who saw the abduction. Andrey looked up. None. Or none useful. The man hesitated. A fraction of a second, but enough. None that help. Which meant there were witnesses. They just didn't align with a version of events being presented. Phone? Recovered. Now, that was important. Phones are rarely left behind. Not in cases like this. They are taken, destroyed, or removed from the scene. A phone is not just an object. It is a record. Show me. The evidence room was colder than necessary, deliberately so. Cold preserved, cold slowed decay. Cold created the illusion that time could be controlled. The phone lay on a metal table, still clean, unremarkable, which made it important. Andrey approached slowly. He picked it up without hesitation. Unlocked. Yes, no password. Another inconsistency. He pressed the screen. Light filled the display. A message. You've already forgotten, haven't you? He read it once, then again. The wording mattered. It was not a question. It did not ask. It confirmed. You've already forgotten. Which meant something had been known and then lost. Behind him, someone shifted. Well? The officer asked. Andrey did not answer immediately. He wasn't reading the message anymore. He was analyzing it. It's not a threat, he said. What then? It doesn't demand action. A pause. It assumes failure. Silence. Failure of what? Andrey turned slightly. Memory. By the time they reached the scene, the rain had intensified. It blurred edges, softened outlines, turned certainty into suggestion, perfect conditions, not accidental. Andrey stepped forward, each movement controlled, deliberate. He crouched, studied the ground. Nothing. Too clean. No struggle, the officer said. There is always a struggle, Andrey replied. He examined the surface more closely. No displacement, no disruption, no irregularity. She didn't resist. How can you be sure? Andrey stood. Because nothing here is broken. He stepped towards the marked position. Where exactly was the phone? Right there. Andrey stopped. That's not where it fell. The officer frowned. What do you mean? It didn't fall. A pause. It was placed. Why would someone do that? Andrey looked at the empty space where she had last been seen. To be found. By who? Andrey's eyes narrowed. By me. And then the world fractured. A sound, sharp, immediate. A scream, too close, too real. Darkness pressed inward, a hand, reaching, grabbing. He stepped back abruptly. Sir, reality snapped back into place. You okay? Yes, a lie. You didn't hear that? He asked. Hear what? Of course, which meant it came from him. Back at the station, Andrey didn't file the report. He investigated the pattern. 3 additional cases, same message, same timing, same absence. But this time he looked deeper. Second pass, third pass, and then he saw it. A connection, not obvious, buried, medical records, a program, cognitive memory adjustment. He leaned closer. This wasn't random. This was designed. Later, the witness confirmed the final piece. She stopped, the man said, and then, like she recognized someone, who? I didn't see them, a pause, but she did. And what did she say? The man hesitated, then whispered, It's you again. Again. Not the first time, not the last. That night the apartment felt wrong, not changed, wrong. Andrey stood in the dark, listening, silence, too complete. He removed his coat. Something fell. He didn't look immediately. He already knew, a flash drive. He didn't remember placing it there, which meant he had, and forgotten. He inserted it. One file. Watch immediately. He pressed play. The screen flickered, then stabilized. Himself. Different. If you're watching this, it means it started again. Again, the loop was real. Don't trust anyone. A pause. Not even yourself. Too late, Andrey whispered. You already tried to stop this. And you failed. Silence. Failed how? No answer. Then, if you're seeing this, he's already nearby. The lights flickered. His phone vibrated. He looked. You've already forgotten, haven't you? He stared at it, then said, No. A pause. I'm starting to remember. And in that moment, everything aligned. Not a case, not a crime, a system, a loop, and he was already inside it. End of chapter 1.